let's say if this is the entire data we collect by any company, this is the data, the entire data. Let's say I have a business problem. A business problem. Number one is the entire data collected by Zomato useful to them to take business decisions? But the very critical question is the Zomato able to utilize the entire data that any company collect in order to solve a business problem? Now, please remember one thing, the data that a company collect might be irrelevant. I will not say it is waste. I will say it is irrelevant. Or is it useful?
So the very first thing that we need to understand is what is data? Because we are right now talking about data analytics, right? And in order to understand what is data analytics, we need to be first of all clear with what exactly is data, right? So if we think about it, data is nothing but your information, right? Any kind of information is your data. Let's take one simple example. Let's say there is a college and the principal of this college wants to collect information about each student studying in the college. So this principal will collect what kind of data? Let's say the ID of the student, then the name of the student, then maybe the department, then maybe the age, and maybe the location, and maybe other details like contact number, right? So each row over here, which I am drawing right now, is basically representing one student. So this is student number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. So the collection of all these information is basically your data, right? That basically your data is. Now, if you think about the amount of data we collect, it is humongous, right? So just think about it. If I ask you the amount of data collected by Zomato per day, then what is the number? If you think about it, or maybe if you use Google, you will find out that it is around 2 TB to 3 TB as per today. Now, if you will be watching this recording maybe after 1 year, then this number might increase, and this number might increase exponentially also. But as per the current scenario, 2 TB or 3 TB of the data is collected by Zomato per day. But the very critical question is the Zomato able to utilize the entire data? Number one. Second is the entire data collected by Zomato useful? Number three, is the entire data which Zomato collects, are they able to process the entire data? So let me write down the question and then you guys can think about it. Number one is the entire data collected by Zomato useful to them to take business decisions? Number two, is the entire data processed by Zomato. Now, I want all of you to think about it and answer me this question. So, I will explain this particular scenario with one example, and then I will again ask you to rethink about it. Now, let's go back to the principal and student example. Just think about it. If my problem statement, if the principal wants to understand from which location most of the students attend college, then which segment of the data would be useful for the principal to answer this question? Which segment of the data would be useful to answer this question? Guys? Location, right? So probably he will do some kind of data manipulation to figure out that from which location how many students are coming, and then probably sort it in ascending order to finally get the answer. So in this scenario, the segment that would be useful is location. Now this is the case whenever we collect data based on the business problem, a portion of the data might be useful for me. So let's say if this is the entire data we collect by any company, this is the data, the entire data. Let's say I have a business problem. A business problem. Now, based on the business problem, a portion of this data would be useful for me, which can actually answer the question. So I hope all of you are able to understand that every company collects a lot of data, like hell amount of data, but not the entire data is useful to solve their problem, right? So they need to do something so that they can fetch, they can extract this useful data that can answer this business problem from this big amount, or maybe the great amount of data that they collect, right? So this basically is the case of data analytics. Data analytics is all about trying to fetch the useful information out of the entire data that any company collect in order to solve a business problem. Now, please remember one thing, the data that a company collect might be irrelevant. I will not say it is waste. I will say it is irrelevant, or is it useful? All the companies are concerned about this useful data, because this useful data might be fraction of the entire data. Fraction of the entire data. But there is a lot of data which would be irrelevant, right? Now, who can do this? Or maybe before that, let me take one more analogy. Let's say you have a fruit. Now, the entire fruit is filled with a lot of rich vitamins and rich minerals, right? But how we can consume it in a way that it actually impacts our body? Maybe we can extract the juice out of it. This process of extracting the juice so that the information, the content is digestible, is basically something that is impacting my body or impacting my business, is your data analytics. This entire workflow is data analytics. So I hope everyone is clear about this term data analytics and what exactly it is.